everyone, it's Kim Vogel with the Basement Bunch Stampers, and today I want to show you a cute card that I created with the Inspired Events Stampset. My daughter just got confirmed in the last month, and I was so excited to see the stamp set come out in our new annual catalog. I wish I would have had my hands on it before her confirmation, but it was one of my very first must-haves because I think that it is an amazing stamp set. Let me bring it in here. For any kind of a milestone in someone's Christian events. It includes christening, baptism, blessing, confirmation, first communion, so it kind of covers a wide array of different events, and I feel that this is a must-have for anyone who attends those events or is going to be having children that are going to be going through those events. It's absolutely beautiful. So this is the card that I created and that I might actually give her after the fact anyway. So I want to share with you how I created this card and some of the other products that I used to create it as well. So I used a piece of Designer Series paper from the new Petal Garden Designer Series paper stack, and when I saw this pattern I instantly went to confirmation. It reminded me of just a confirmation card with the pretty elegance to it and the nice springy colors. So if you haven't seen this paper stack yet, I encourage you to look at it. It's on page 57 of our annual catalog, and I've been using it for quite a few projects this last week because it's just gorgeous. The book does not do this paper justice, so I encourage you to check that out when you have an opportunity to do that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started on this card and show you how I put this card together. So I started with a piece of old olive cardstock, cut 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and that became the base of my card for today. And then I used sweet sugar plum, and I cut sweet sugar plum to 5 1/4 by 4, and that is the mat, the first mat that I used on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that onto my base like that. And then using Whisper White, I cut Whisper White to 5 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper here in a little bit because I want to be able to show you how I stamped this on here. So with that, I first adhered the Designer Series paper to the bottom and using Fast Fuse. And I'm putting a little bit of a border around this. It's cut perfectly to have a little bit of a white edge around those sides. And then I used some of the old olive sheer ribbon that's also on page 57 of our catalog. And I'm going to show you how I do the Kim cheater bow because I cannot tie ribbons. You probably have heard that. If you watched any of my other videos, you probably have heard that many times. I'm a lefty, and bows and I do not get along the greatest. So I take a shortcut whenever I can. So I'm basically taking a piece of ribbon that I cut the size to go around this card, put a glue dot on the end of each side, and I'm just going to adhere that right around those edges, pretty snug, right where that paper ends. Okay, so that is that. And then I cut another little piece of ribbon, and what I do is I put this underneath that piece that I just put on there, and I tie it in a knot onto that ribbon like so. And voila, you have a beautiful ribbon, and you can move that knot around wherever you want to put it. And I'm going to tie it tight. And then I'm just going to snip these ends, and I have to get these scissors sharpened. Wow. Didn't realize they were that dull. Okay, so there's my little knot that I tied on there. And then what I'm going to do is using the Rich Raspberry ink. So my inks today that I'm using is Rich Raspberry and Sweet Sugar Plum. I'm going to be stamping the Congratulations on Your right up on the top here, and I'm stamping that first because I want to make sure I have room for it before I stamp. You'll notice my first one, I did not have enough room, and I thought I am not going to create another sample because I want you to see that I'm real here. We all make mistakes, so I should have stamped that first before I stamped this design on the very top. So that was one of my takeaways from making this card, was to make sure that I tell you guys to stamp that first. And then I used from the stamp set this really pretty design right here to stamp at the very, very top. And let me get that out. And with that, I use the sweet sugar plum. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up really good. And this is why I had that piece of paper underneath of there, because it's all not going to fit. And I'm going to actually turn it upside down because that's what works for me. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp just the top part of this stamp on there. And it's not going to be enough to fit all the way across. I hope I didn't do the greatest there, but that's okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to line up this line right here with the line right here. And it's really not that hard to do. Of course, I'm probably going to mess it up now that I'm doing a video to show all of you how I did it. Stamp that really good. Oh, I lined it up perfect. Look at that. Okay, so that is that card so far. Isn't that pretty? You get that out of there. And now we're ready to go ahead and adhere this to our card. So let me do that. Just like that. And then using our 1 3/4 inch circle and our 1 1/2 inch circle, these are just 2 punches that I created that layer perfectly together. So I'm just going to glue one on top of the other. And then using a dimensional, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card. Like that. So I'm going to bring in the sample again so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I'm going to show you how I did this flower, and then I stamped confirmation on the bottom down there. So let's actually stamp the confirmation first. That I did in the rich raspberry ink. You get all that out of the way. So I'm going to stamp confirmation onto this, like so. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry. And then what I did is I used one of our Stampin' Pierce mats to be able to stamp on top of, because I wanted to have a really good cushiony image on this. So the stamp set for the flower has 2 different components to it, a solid and then one with a pattern. And so what I did is I stamped the solid first in the lightest color, which is the sweet sugar plum, and I stamped the outline of the flower second using the rich raspberry. So with that, I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways that I'm doing this to give you an idea of what kind of a look you might want to get. So I'm going to stamp directly onto the piece first. See how dark that is? This time I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp here. So see how much lighter that is? Okay. And what I'm doing is I want to be able to show you kind of the contrast you can get for the difference in flowers by doing the stamp on, stamp off kind of thing. Okay. And again, I'm going to show you how to line this up. Sometimes my ladies struggle with knowing how to line up photopolymers when you're doing a 2-step stamp. So you can see the outline of the image here, and here's the flower that you have to stamp on top of it. So I've been telling my ladies, put that image down to where you can see that it matches up. Okay, so I can tell right there that that's a really good match. And then you're just going to take your block, put your block on top of it. So now you know that it's lined up on that block right where you want that. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into the rich raspberry ink. I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to stamp. Okay, so see how dark that one is? Now I'm going to do this other one, and I'm going to stamp. And you see how much lighter that one is? So again, depends on what kind of a look you're looking for when you go to do your stamping. On my card, I chose to use the lighter one, and then all I did is I cut that out with scissors with paper snips, and I'm not going to take the time to actually do that because I think I'll know how to do that. But I did cut that out with snips, and then I just glued that right down to my circle right here. And then I topped my card with rhinestones. I put a rhinestone in the middle of the flower and 2 on the ends of the word confirmation. And that is the card that I chose to make to give to my daughter as a late confirmation card. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my card that I've shared with you today, and I hope that you've learned a couple of awesome stamping tips and tricks that I do when I make my cards. I encourage you to visit my website at kimsbasementbunch.com. Make sure you sign up for my mailing list so that you will be receiving emails on all of my events that I have going on, as well as free tutorials that I'm going to be sending out every Friday. Thanks for stopping by today and have a great day. Bye.